Well, a very warm welcome to the latest episode of Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach. My name is Candy Reid. I do hope you've been enjoying all our chats with our wonderful guests. And this week, I'm absolutely delighted to say that Biljana Veselinovic is our latest guest. Biljana and I have been chatting, I think, since Wimbledon 2025 about getting her on the podcast. And the timing just hasn't quite worked out. But now I'm delighted to say that she is with us. Biljana, I believe you're speaking to us from Serbia. And of course, you're now working with Donna Vekic, having spent a lot of time in the UK working with Katie Boulter. So a warm welcome to the podcast. And I know you listen to some of our podcasts. How does it feel to be finally on?
Oh, wow. It took a long time indeed. Last year at Wimbledon, we started talking about me being your guest, and it took almost a year with a couple of trials. But since I was traveling a lot, it was difficult to manage the time that suited us both. But thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no, you're more than welcome. I was speaking to Mike James, who's been working with the data side and with a lot of players and discussing how few women I've been able to get on. I think it's now you and Patricia Tarabini, and that's about it as far as coaches are concerned. So let's start there. It's the obvious question, isn't it? But perhaps you could just give us your thoughts into why there aren't more female coaches, particularly on the WTA Tour, and if you're seeing an improvement in that.
Well, I'm seeing improvements, but there are still not too many female coaches. We are constantly trying to encourage younger coaches and other female coaches to get more into it. We created a female or women's coaching team that we are only women coaches in trying to connect even more. But still, I don't think that it's not more than 10% of the whole of the coaches are women. But we have coaches that are coaching top 10 players, which is Conchita Martinez with Andreeva. Then we have Mamboko being coached by female coaches from Canada. Then obviously Marta Kostyuk winning the tournament last week in Rouen, France, coached by Sandra Zaniewska. Myself and Patricia Tarabini coaching another player. So I forgot the name. We have to cut this one. Patricia is coaching. Help me.
There are one or two others. I think Sandra Zaniewska, we're going to try and get on the podcast. She's seemingly quite enthusiastic about it. I think it's tricky from my point of view because it's something that I would love to do. You know, you'd want to start sort of at the ITF and then work up, but it's just being able to spend that much time on tour, isn't it? It's not easy, but you've been doing it for a long, long time. Can you remember your first really good player on tour? Who was that?
Oh, that was in my clear remembrance. Katarina Srebotnik was the first player that I coached, and the coaching started as a part of her team in 2003. And then I became her leading coach at the end of 2004. And that was the player that I worked for the longest time. We were 5 years working together, and then she got injured with Achilles. And then we basically stopped. But I coached her when she just played doubles as well, when she was playing doubles with Petrova. And I was coaching Petrova in singles and them in doubles. So Srebotnik was the first player that I coached, and that was my first steps on WTA Tour as a coach.
Amazing. How hard was it for you to get into coaching initially?
Into coaching, well, first of all, I never thought I would be a tennis coach, because my first steps as a coach was when I was playing German league, and as a part of a contract, I had to give lessons to recreational players, and I found it very, very boring, but a very good source of getting some extra money. But I never thought I would be a tennis coach. And then I came back to Serbia. At that time, Serbia and Montenegro was the name of the our country, and started to work as a marketing expert, as I graduated in USA. My major was business marketing, and I thought that I would be working in my field. However, I quickly learned that I didn't like office hours. And a part of my contract with my tennis club as a general secretary, I managed to get 2 hours on court with little kids. And that's how it started. I basically escaped my office hours and ran into the court. And I was lucky that those girls that I coached became national champions in team and individually. And then Tennis Federation of Serbia named me as a national captain under 14. And that's how I started really to travel with girls. And we were following the schedule of Tennis Europe under 14. And that's the time when I started to improve my education, or started to educate myself as a coach, because before that I was just using the knowledge of how I was coached by my coaches. So learning process started in 1998, when I started to go to all of the European and world seminars and coaches symposiums, and also attended ITF level 1, level 2, and level 3 courses, which gave me a good foundation. Then, which I obviously, being on tour since 2004, actively, I gradually and always had to put layers on my knowledge.
So you obviously have a very good eye, as well as being a very good tennis player. What would you say is the number one, number two, and number three aspect of someone who's really got potential to make a professional career in what I think is the hardest sport in the world?
I definitely agree with you that tennis is the single hardest sport to succeed in professionally. So I would say the person has to be absolute great athlete. She or he had to be quick, to have great endurance, and to have great agility. To learn so many skills, you have to have good serve, you have to have good return, you have to move well, you have to have minimum 2 weapons to hurt other opponents to be successful in professional tennis, and not to have a major hole in your game. Then mentality has to be as a warrior. That's becoming most and more and more important. The mentality of warrior, never to give up, and never to step out of the court without giving 100%, which is every day different. But this work ethic of giving 100% every day is very important. And also, I think that to possess unbelievable adaptability, because in professional tennis, tournaments are played every week on different surfaces, usually different balls. Players are staying in different hotels. We are usually changing continents very often. So being able to adapt to everything quickly, it's extremely important as well.
Yeah, it's quite something else, isn't it? And we've got a font at the bottom in graphics saying that you played at the University of South Carolina. I presume it was a tennis scholar. So how good a player were you?
I was among the top players in ex-Yugoslavia under my age. I was not to top two, which turned pro, but I never had in my mind being a pro tennis player. I was growing up in ex-Yugoslavia, and in 70s, when I started to play tennis, tennis was not popular at all. Yugoslavia was world powerhouse in basketball, winning gold medals in Olympics and world championships. Handball also was very popular. Men's team won the gold medal in world championship in Olympic Games in Munich in 1972. So tennis wasn't popular, and especially wasn't popular in Serbia as a part of Yugoslavia. So I was playing the sports that other my friends were playing. I was playing basketball very good, and I was playing in a second league to become the team became the team to qualify for the first league and in Yugoslavia. And because of very very underdeveloped infrastructure in tennis, I chose to play basketball as my second sport. And during winter, when we at that time we didn't have indoor facilities for tennis, or those some of the indoor facilities were not heated. So usually when we were coming to practice in the morning, we would find frozen bottles of water because it was so cold, and I really did not like it. So I was escaping, and during winter I was playing basketball, because basketball league was running during winter. And in summer, when basketball was not played, or at least players were on holidays, I was then playing tennis. So I was in a very difficult situation to decide, because the coaches were always on top of me to decide which sport I would like to be a dominant or priority. And I had never answered the question correctly, or actually I avoided to answer. But at some point I've got the invitation for the scholarship in States to play tennis, and that was the turning point when I definitely had to choose and leave basketball, choose tennis to be my priority, and went to study in States. I have to say my mom was really the one who influenced me heavily to not lose the chance, as it was really good opportunity to learn language in English. And she thought it would be a 1 year thing for me, just to try to go for 1 year and come back and then study in Serbia. But then I started to like it, and I realized quickly that I would never be able to play as many matches and on that level at home as playing for Division I school and being ranked top 10 schools at that time in States. It was an unbelievable opportunity. So even though I had a calendar on my wall and I was marking days every day as almost like a soldier, when you are counting days when you are going home, I would always choose again to study in States.
Amazing. Great story. I went to the University of Tennessee, so we both played at SEC schools, or Southeastern Conference, which has now grown exponentially to include Texas and all kinds of places. It's become very large, the SEC, which I think is probably the strongest conference now in the USA. And I have to say, it changed my life. I really enjoyed it, the discipline and the amount of fun we had, the fact that it was completely free, and it gave you so many opportunities. It's really a good springboard, isn't it, for players nowadays? I almost think even the likes of Hannah Klugman should be going to do at least 1 year of college. That's my personal opinion. Now, a lot of people would probably disagree with me and say, I want to go pro, but I think to have that springboard and to see if you are truly a top 10 in the collegiate area, then you're probably ready for pros. But if you're not, maybe you need some more time. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I would definitely suggest, especially nowadays when the level of competition in states, in universities went so high, at least to try for 1 year, if not even the whole 4 years, because you are 22 years old when you graduate. So it's still very young. But the fact that universities are offering nearly 50 matches per year I remember I was coming back in Europe in May after exams, and I already played 40, 50 matches when the season just started in Europe. So this opportunity to play as extremely high amount of matches in singles and doubles gives this competitive edge, and gives players that need to go through the long process of maturity. I would say that studying in States for a year or 2 years or the whole 4 years, it's absolutely a great opportunity.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So let's get on now to more of your coaching career, because for many years now you've been working in Britain at the LTA, working directly with Katie Boulter. You've also coached Harriet Dart. I'd love to know your thoughts on working with British players coming from Serbia, where I'd imagine the mindset is quite different. I was growing up coached in the National Federation by Olga Morozova from Russia.
I know Olga,
former Wimbledon finalist. And I love Olga now. When I was 16, I found it difficult because, yes, of course you do. But I found it very difficult because she was much tougher than I was used to in the coaching realm. So I wonder if you had some trouble at the beginning when you were working with Katie and the other British players to kind of understand how British women work, because I think we're a lot more sensitive. We kind of like a nice, easy touch. So how did you go about it?
Well, first of all, coming to a federation that has unbelievable infrastructure at one place as a national tennis center, British players have great privilege to be able to just park the car or come by Uber at 8:00 in the morning and do everything what is needed to be done at one place, meaning warm up in a gym, tennis on any surfaces that they would like to practice, do another fitness at the same place, have a physiotherapy at the same place, and if they need, they have a doctor as well. For any other countries without strong federations, I used to help players from Tennis Australia and French Tennis Federation, which is very similar, if not exact same. But coming from Serbia or any other federation that doesn't have such a strong federation, we are used to spending hours and hours in traffic to just after tennis go to do fitness, and then another couple of hours from fitness to get to the physio who is going to do the recovery or rehab. So wasting 3 or 4 hours in a car daily, it was just a normal thing for us. And infrastructure is not nothing to compare with. No, normally at my time we had only clay courts. Nowadays there are some clubs with hard courts. There is absolutely no grass, but it is nothing compared to what British players have, and this opportunity is unbelievable. In terms of mentality, maybe it would be the best if you ask Harriet Dart and Katie Boulter how they felt when I was coaching. I don't think that I was super hard on them, but I knew that I need to adapt and adjust my coaching style when I was coming to work for LTA. And this is something that I learned from coaching different players before. I was coaching Srebotnik, then Safarova, then Cornet, Gavrilova. They're all completely different. So I learned that I needed to adjust my coaching style, but still have standards that I would be following, standards from what WTA players are requested to have to be able to be successful. But coaching style was definitely different, softer.
And just looking at the names you played, and you mentioned a few of them: Daria Gavrilova, now Saville, Petra Martic, who had quite an aggressive game, didn't she, with mostly a one-handed slice backhand, and Alexander Krunic, who's had terrible MCL, ACL injuries and coming back and strong in doubles. Elise Cornet, who was sort of a French backboard, and then Lucy Safarova, the lefty. Katerina Srebotnik, who you've talked about, was so good in both singles and doubles. Katie Boulter, a different kind of player, very aggressive, and now Donna Vekic. So many different styles, so many different mentalities. What's the key to working with all these different women?
I think the key is definitely good communication. So before I started to work with any of them, I was having a good and honest conversation with them about their game style, about what requirements for WTA are, top 10. And then we at the table, while having coffee, we agreed on what are the most important things that we would focus on, mostly working and mostly focusing on their strengths, but also working on a little bit of on the weaknesses that would by making them a little bit better would help them not lose matches because of those weaknesses, but heavily focusing on strengths of all of the players, because all of the players, when I started to work with them, were already good. They were not top 20, but they were top 50. British girls were out of 100, but it was then even easier to spot what couple of things they need to be to break top 100.
Yeah, and Katie Boulter had quite a few injuries growing up. She was always exceptional and was helped by the LTA a lot, but her career sort of stalled. But then you helped her to 3 WTA titles, including one at 500 level. I remember she won San Diego a few hours after her fiance, soon to be husband Alex de Monor, won Acapulco. I was actually with him in Acapulco, and he took a direct flight, I think, to get to San Diego to watch that. I'd love to know the highlights of your career, something that's just surprised you, a title or a match that a player of yours has won, and you just think that was the best ever. I'm so pleased.
I think with every player that I worked, I had one memory that sticks in really. Like Srebotnik, she won against Serena Williams on Susan Langland Stadium in a second round of or the third round of Roland Garros. So that was unbelievable win for her. Then Safarova winning 100K in Prague and winning Fed Cup title, winning both matches for her team against Serbian team and against top 10 players Ivanovic and Jankovic. So that was really very significant win. And then Cornet winning, of course, for French player to win at Philippe Chatrier is always good, but if you win against top 10 player, it's even better. So she won against Vinci on Philippe Chatrier, so it was also emotional for me. I think I cried after that match. I don't know why, but it was very emotional. So I remember that. And then Gavrilova won New Haven 500K with me suggesting to change or to hire herself fitness coach and not to work anymore with Tennis Australia fitness coach who could not cover enough her needs, and that was the suggestion, and she took an advice and worked with us in Serbia during summer and went and won New Haven. So it was a good move in coaching changes. And of course with Katie winning first 60K in Canberra, that was the start of our working contracts. She won 60K in Canberra, and then she won Nottingham twice in a row. She defended the title, so 2 years in a row she won Nottingham, and then San Diego has 500K. And then I have to also mention Harriet Dart winning against Svitolina Indian Wells. That was a huge win, and that was the win that made her being a top 100 player.
Incredible wins. And the list of your players is just amazing, and everybody ranking wise has improved significantly. So that's the good side. The bad side, and I'm just talking about from my coaching career where I've worked with mostly under 18s. Sometimes when you've been working with a player, you can kind of feel the end is starting to come. Maybe the satisfaction on court is not what you would like it to be. Maybe your energy with them and happiness with what they're doing isn't quite right. And you can kind of feel it. Sometimes you lose your job. I have, certainly out of the blue, but most of the time you kind of know it's going to happen and you're ready to move on, as are they. Can you share any experiences you've had with us about that and how important it is to kind of maintain a professional approach and perhaps still be friends, yet your professional career and relationship have come to an end?
Yeah, well, with all of the players that I worked with, I felt when the end was coming. It's very evident that the words that you are saying to a player are not anymore getting into their ears, or maybe I was repeating myself so many times that it was not anymore a significant information that they would take. And then you can also, I personally felt that they were disconnected when I was on court, and my presence, I felt my presence was not helping them still improving. And once I felt that, then it was sometimes not as easy, but it was a must to sit down and talk and discuss what is going on. And usually it was very clear that they needed a different voice, that they needed a different figure, and they needed someone else to keep coaching them. And in all of those situations, it was an honest and nice talk. So it was not easy, but it was always a very friendly and correct thing to do, to suggest them to find another coach.
Yeah, well, that's very professional and grown up of you, because I know it doesn't always happen, and it's not easy because, of course, you're then seeing your former player, aren't you? And they're seeing you around the locker room and around the area, because life doesn't stop. The professional tour keeps going. Something I see a lot commentating now on the WTA and ATP tour is how few, in my opinion, really good coaches there are, particularly on the women's side. I think a lot of the women players pick a very young man, generally someone who can hit, someone who's played probably quite a good level, but actually doesn't have the coaching skills. And then suddenly you get a really good coach. And there's a few that come to mind, including yourself, that jump into a player and automatically that player improves. And you can just see the accumulation of improvement and skills very, very fast. And I just wonder why more WTA players don't invest a little bit more in themselves and actually a better quality of coach to try and get them up quicker. It almost is like they don't want to spend the money on the really good people, so they get the young, generally men who are just starting their coaching career. Have you got any idea, any thoughts? Do you agree with me or disagree?
Yeah, I agree, but the fact is that the good coaches are not always free. They're usually already working with someone, so it's not easy to find a good coach that is available at the time when the player needs it. Another thing is that what you mentioned is maybe it's at the beginning of the career they think that that's too much money to invest. But I was always talking to my players. I was always giving them an example of if they would be running a restaurant with 4 tables, and each table, if each table would have 4 chairs, and all of a sudden they are fully booked every day, and they feel that they can grow in their business, the first thing that they would do is buy more tables and buy more chairs. So investing in yourself is first thing. It's not the money that is coming in. So before the good result or better result or improvement comes, they need to realize that they need to invest in a good coaching and good fitness coaching and good physios. Now the teams are becoming bigger and bigger, and yeah, that's the way how they should operate. But sometimes parents are also involved in decision making, especially when players are young, and normally and usually parents are not very well educated, and they need help from maybe agents. And then the question is if agents are suggesting to invest in better coaches, or are they good enough to invest in just hitting partners.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. I think it is it's something that the players should be mindful, and you're right, probably themselves, and hopefully have a good agent that could sort of steer them in the right direction. I've just been doing Madrid, where we did a couple of Coco Gauff's matches. I actually commentated with Olga Savchuk, who's a now retired player from Ukraine. And something that we noticed with Coco was how much the team were talking to her. It never ended. And actually, Sorana Castella, I think it was her 4th round opponent, was complaining quite bitterly because it was too much. I thought it was too much. Jean-Christophe Farrell and Gavin McMillan really never stopped talking to Coco Gauff. And obviously now coaching is allowed. What's your policy on that? Do you talk a lot to your player? Do you hold back? Do you want them to ask you questions? Do you want them to find solutions?
Well, it's a blend. It depends really on a day, on an opponent. Usually, what is for me, or in my opinion, the most important is how we prepare for the match, how we tactically prepare, and knowing what my player can do and how she plays, and getting into some of the opponents and their game styles and their tactics. I try to give 2 or 3 simple tactical things that they try to implement, and then depending on how they feel, if they need to change of what was agreed or not, I then start talking or not. Normally, if they don't need to change anything, then it's more only support and being behind of the player, just suggesting that everything is fine, everything is going on regardless of mistakes that are happening. But if I see that something that we agreed tactically is not working and something else needs to be done, then I involve myself even more. But since coaching is allowed, then it's a little bit easier, but it definitely doesn't mean that I talk after every point. It's maybe only at the change of ends when the player is coming towards me that I say what is I feel the most important at that time.
Are you looking at data? Are you have you got a data analyst that you work with and you trust? Or are you kind of like Tony Nadal and you're using your own eye and not worrying about the numbers too much?
At the moment, working with Donna Vekic, I'm not, unfortunately, not using any match analysis. However, working 6 years for LTA, I had privilege to work with great guys, and it was much easier to create tactics because LTA has the whole team of match analysis guys that are providing everything what coaches are basically asking. We got to see the opponents, the matches on the surfaces that our players were playing, and then also the details of everything that we really wanted. So now I had to rely on my own eye. I had to hope to find on YouTube some matches or some highlights, but highlights are usually showing only the good points. You don't get to see where the opponent is making a mistakes usually. So it's the using the eye and knowing what Donna can produce and how what she likes to do and what she can do.
And then moving on to Donna, we actually had Nick Horvat on the podcast about 18 months ago. He helped Donna to do so well in 2024. Of course, she worked largely with Sasha Bajin last year. How did you two get together? And what are you feeling about Donna's game right now? And how can she improve?
Well, I know Donna since she was, I think, 16 or 17, basically, when she started to be a very famous young upcoming player. Because we speak the same language, we communicated so many times over the years. So it was not a secret that she was not having a coach after Wimbledon because she stopped with Sasha Bain. And when I decided, or we mutually decided, Boulter and myself, to stop working together, I then had to make another decision to stay or to leave LTA. But because of the fact that LTA wasn't allowing me to work with a player that is not British, it was another hard decision that I had to do or to make. I decided to leave, and Donna's father approached me, and we very quickly found the way how to work together. And the fact that she lives only 1.5 hours away driving from where I live made it even easier to plan the practices and meetings and everything else. And the communication on it, coaching in your own language, I find it much easier. And also the fact that not everyone can understand what I'm talking to her during the matches helps as well. I'm sure that there are some good translators, but when you are coaching in English, then it can be from opponents as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. We've actually had Donna on the podcast alongside her good friend Charlotte Pierce. It was an old podcast I did, and she comes across very, very well, and she's always very friendly when I see her on tour. How important is it for you to get on with your player? And the other part to that question is, how much do you like traveling on the WTA Tour? Because you've been doing it for many years. Does it get tiring?
I think it's very important that you get along with the player, and that on court and off court as well. With Donna, I spend a lot of time off court as well, as we talk about not only about tennis, and this is also something with the same mentality and same kind of stories, same problems in countries, and so talks are connecting. And it's not only tennis, so it's really helping to create a good and trusting relationship. And in terms of traveling, I have to say I got used to it. It's been over 20 years now that I'm traveling. I'm sure that the other coaches as well are always having half luggage packed. I never unpack my luggage completely. I always leave the necessities, Target, vitamins and stuff that are always with me. So this is the part of the luggage that never comes out. And then the other part is clothes that I obviously pack every time I leave. It is tiring. That's the only, I would say, if I could change that, then I would think about coaching for many more years. But the fact that I'm always traveling and away from home makes it very, very tiring. And I'm very aware that I'm at my end of coaching career, close to the end, let's say, not end, but close, not at the beginning, and that I would like to spend more time doing.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. And I know because I got the interview time for this wrong, that you do have dogs. I've actually got my dog sitting alongside me, one of them right here, right now. And I know when I leave for tournaments, which I leave less than you do, there's always kind of a pang. But when you get to the airport and then you get on site, everything becomes more comfortable. Does it get easier?
Yeah, it gets definitely, every tournament brings that excitement when the draw comes out, when preparation for the match is going on, when the real matches are, when players are on playing matches. That's very exciting, and it's every time different. So this is what makes me feel still excited about it and loving my job. But yes, if I could change something, I would definitely travel less.
And perhaps we could finish, Biljana, and I thank you so much for your time, with your perfect player from the current day, and perhaps when you were playing. Is there someone that you could put together? So who would you say on the WTA Tour has the best serve of all time?
Oh, that must be either Serena or Venus. Venus used to, at her best time, I remember that players like Clijsters, Hannin, Davenport, and others were saying that Venus's serve was definitely the toughest to read.
Oh, wow. And she's still serving quite well, isn't she? Incredibly. And so let's go to the returner, best returner that you've ever seen.
Maybe Dementieva. Elena Dementieva, I would say, one of the best returners.
Ah, yeah. Had one of the worst serves, but one of the best returns.
Oh, yeah. But the reaction after serve was really good. That's why she was surviving her service games. She knew that the serve is terrible.
Yeah,
and then
incredible. I agree with you, because she used to back up 59-mile-an-hour serves, didn't she, really well?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get on to best forehand, best backhand.
Forehand, let's say Ana Ivanovic. I had to pick up someone from Serbia. So Ana Ivanovic, best forehand. Jelena Jankovic, best backhand.
Very good. Net play, and what about drop shots? You can have the same person or a different person for the net skills and then the drop shots.
Ash Barty, net play, and Donna Vekic, the best drop shot.
Oh, I love it. I love a Donna drop shot. I think I called her Donna drop shot after one match because she'd hit so many in a match I was commentating on. I think you're right. Probably put in Ons Jabeur as well in that one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that seems like a very perfect player. Biljana, thank you so much for your time. When you do retire, what's retirement going to look like? Are you going to live on some remote island, or are you going to be busy and be playing tennis somewhere?
I'm not sure yet. I'm sure that I'm not going to be inactive. I cannot stay on one place. This is from so many years of traveling. I have a nice weekend house on a lake where I love to spend some time with my dogs and in peace to hear birds and frogs only. So that would be for a couple of days for sure. And then I think I would definitely like to be connected in tennis, but just to try to find something that doesn't require so much traveling. Maybe a mentor if somebody needs or wants to work with me. So,
well, Biljana Veselinovic, thank you so much.
Thank you, Candy. We finally made it.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be you'll get a lot of offers once we finally made it, and thank you. I know the recording hasn't been great with all the interruptions, but I appreciate your patience, and hopefully I will see you at Roland Garros. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me, and see you at Roland Garros. Maybe we can get some coffee or wine.
Oh, perfect. A bientôt.